All right.
Okay, I think we have our next speaker coming up. We are very excited for the next speaker because he's also one of the organizers of this event and one of the folks that have brought us such great content, including the Boeing speaker that we just had. So thank you, Richard, for helping put this whole thing on, for helping get Ricardo here with us. And
Here we go.
we should probably
Yeah, well,
introduce
hi,
yourself.
Daniel. Hi, Lisa. That was terrific. That's a real tough gig to follow. Thank you, Ricardo.
You'll do great. All right.
Okay, let's get started. So, hi, everyone. My name is Richard. I'm from Jetstack, who you might know, the original creators of the Cert Manager open source project. And I'm also part of the CNCF Business Value Subcommittee. So I'm here today to talk about 5 things that hopefully will make your life a little easier when working with cloud native open source projects. We are all part of this ecosystem that we love, that is constantly growing, evolving, diversifying. The cloud native ecosystem, it's made up of tech startups, academics and universities, large and small organizations, all of which have a common objective to build and innovate using cloud native technology. So in the next 5 minutes, let me tell you about 5 things to help you navigate the cloud native ecosystem. Each one offers something different and valuable, and each one has open source as its key reason for existing. Okay, so the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, the CNCF, it's the organization that promotes and advocates cloud native technology to commercial users, developer communities, and vendors. And the best visual representation we have of how all this comes together is the CNCF landscape guide, which you can see here. So, as I said, this picture is the best representation of our ecosystem that we have. And the first thing you're probably thinking is, wow, I cannot see a thing on that slide. And well, this is true because our ecosystem has expanded and grown faster than anyone could have predicted. But although this looks complicated, I do recommend that you take a look and get a feel for the way it's structured, because this web resource contains so much valuable information and interesting information. However, it does need improving. It is over detailed, and there are a few of us in the CNCF that are looking to improve it. But even so, don't let those multitude of tiles put you off. The landscape page on the CNCF site will tell you a lot about both the open source projects and the proprietary solutions that make up the ecosystem. That said, it would be great to make it more accessible. So let's talk about how we might achieve that with the second point I want to share with you. So as we look beyond the CNCF landscape model, it obviously carries a lot of really interesting detail, but it's not always practical for helping people who are unfamiliar with the way the ecosystem works. So while Kubernetes itself has proved incredible for enabling engineering teams to accelerate application development with containerization, at the same time, it has spawned a huge number and variety of different open source projects. And this has made it challenging for users to know how to compare projects. Open source users want data and information so they can easily compare the capabilities of the different projects. So both technical teams and non-technical users need to know which projects will best meet their needs. So what they need, frankly, is a more simple basis to be able to compare these projects. This is the main reason why we are currently producing a new CNCF project summary table, which when complete will be available alongside the landscape to give users a deeper level of detail about each project. And this will help them easily identify and select the open source project that best meets their development needs. Okay, so on to my third suggestion, which is the CNCF Cloud Native Maturity Model. A really interesting and modern way to measure how proficient your organization is at operating production level Kubernetes is by using a maturity model. So the CNCF model was devised and put together by the CNCF Cartographers Group, and one of our lovely KubeCrash program co-chairs, Danielle from Fairwinds, is part of this group, and she has a dedicated lightning talk on this tomorrow. However, to give you a quick overview, the maturity model is a really excellent resource that carries a lot of information to help organizations that are adopting Kubernetes. It shows 5 progressive levels of maturity with advice on how to achieve higher levels of proficiency with Kubernetes. This is a really fantastic and highly recommended resource, not only for showing you what solid progression looks like from an organizational standpoint, but also how to become more proficient with Kubernetes. And also, it is a terrific learning tool that you can use to help judge where your own skills lie as a cloud native engineer. So, for example, if you want to take your career more firmly into platform engineering, it's a really good resource to use. It also works both at a strategic level and an operational level to help you identify what skills and capabilities your organization needs in order to be truly effective with Kubernetes. And also, another cool factor to using this model is that it can show how different teams can work together more effectively. So I'd absolutely encourage you to look at this, and of course, make sure you're around tomorrow for Danielle's dedicated lightning session on the CNCF Cloud Native Maturity Model. Okay, so number four. Number four is the Cloud Native Glossary from the CNCF, which was created to help anyone easily find an accurate definition and understanding of the ever-expanding list of cloud native technical terms and concepts. This is a really excellent resource that anyone can use, and it's also available in multiple languages. So if you need something to help tune your knowledge and everything from API gateways to zero trust, then this resource is a great way to improve your understanding of cloud native terminology. And finally, just want to draw your attention to the general work of the CNCF Business Value Subcommittee. This is a team of CNCF volunteers whose purpose is to provide tools and resources to help users better understand the cloud native ecosystem. So its role is to create and promote CNCF resources to help making cloud native technology more impactful and less complex. So here's an example of what I mean by that. So as organizations begin to accelerate their use of Kubernetes, they'll start to evaluate and adopt other open source projects to use in production environments. This often leads to platform teams needing to consider things like deeper workload observability or new Kubernetes service abstractions. And then this perhaps can lead on to internal discussions about using a service mesh and improving security. So all of a sudden, not scaling a Kubernetes platform has become challenging and more complex. In this scenario, the teams will want to access information and knowledge on solutions and best practices that will help minimize this complexity. The CNCF is one of the first places users will go to try and solve these problems, but where do you start if you're unfamiliar with the structure of the ecosystem? So the CNCF Business Value team can help by providing easy to consume resources for technical and non-technical users to help them make better and more informed decisions about using CNCF open source projects, which will help to reduce complexity and make their cloud native journey easier and hopefully more fun. So to know more about what we do and how you can get involved, please use any of the resource links I'm showing here, or please just reach out to me directly. And just one final shout out before I close off. If you are attending KubeCon Amsterdam in a couple of weeks, do note down this panel discussion happening on the Thursday of that week, where we will get into this really interesting area of how to use CNCF resources effectively. I'll be on the panel with colleagues that you can see here, and one of the discussion points we'll be covering is how you yourself can contribute to help create and improve CNCF resources. So if this is something you're interested in being involved in, really hope to see you there for that. But as I say, otherwise, do please reach out to me directly. And there I'm done. Thank you very much for my 5 minutes.
Well, that was fantastic, Richard. I, am super excited that you're giving a talk in Amsterdam. So that will be great to hear more about this. And thanks for the shout outs for the cloud native maturity model. That is obviously something very near and dear to me, as trying to help people get cloud native faster. Absolutely. So great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Thanks
so
very
much.
much. See you later.